So, Micah Bell. Just the name probably makes you flinch a little, but if you played Red Dead Redemption 2, chances are you absolutely hate this guy. Most players do. He's loud, sneaky, disrespectful, and overall just seems like a snake from the moment you meet him. But what if I told you that Micah isn't technically the villain? Now, I know that might kind of sound crazy, and because we all hate Micah, of course, but let me just explain a little bit. So the story of Red Dead Redemption 2 is a lot more complex than just Micah bad, Arthur good. There's a lot more going on under the surface, and if we really look at Micah for what he is, not just what the game wants us to feel, then things start to look a little different. First off, let's look at what Micah actually does. Micah shows up pretty late into the gang's timeline compared to folks like Arthur, Hosea, John, Dutch, and all the OG members. But the moment he joins, Dutch sees something in him. And whether we like it or not, Micah gets things done. He's efficient, brutal, yes, but he's effective. He doesn't hesitate when Dutch wants action. Micah is the one who delivers. He gets Dutch out of jail, which is what makes Dutch really like him a lot and thinks he's very loyal to Dutch. And he causes chaos. That's kind of what they like, or Dutch likes. He moves the story forward. He does what others won't. Now, that's not heroic, but it's loyal to a point. From Micah's point of view, Dutch is the only one who really gets it. Dutch wants freedom, Dutch wants power, and Micah's ready to follow the dream no matter what. That sounds familiar, right? It should, because early Arthur was the same exact way. The only difference is that Arthur changes. He gets sick, he starts thinking deeper, and he realizes the violence, the lies, and the dream is all falling apart and was all a lie. But Micah never cared about the dream in the first place. He only cared about winning. And in a world like Red Dead Redemption 2, where death is around every corner, and people betray each other left and right, is that really so evil? This one's controversial, but it has to be said. Dutch was already spiraling before Micah even got close to him. People love to say Micah poisoned Dutch's mind, and yeah, he definitely pushed things in a certain direction, but Dutch's ego, that paranoia, that hunger for control, that was there long before Micah even opened his mouth. Go back and look. Dutch kills Cornwall in broad daylight, he blows up a train, he burns down towns, he killed that innocent lady on the Blackwater incident. He talks about loyalty, but I feel like he constantly leaves people behind. Dutch didn't need Micah to go mad. Micah just gave him permission. He was the guy in the room who just agreed with Dutch and fed into his ego, and yeah. And Dutch loved hearing that, of course, because when everyone else was doubting him, Arthur, Hosea, John, Micah was the only one still cheering him on, still saying he was a genius. So, is that manipulation? Obviously it is, but it's also what Dutch wanted. And in a way, Micah was just being honest. He told Dutch exactly what he wanted to hear, and Dutch ate it up. Is that evil, or is that just smart? It's easy to blame Micah because everything feels worse after he shows up, but let's be real, the cracks in the game the cracks in the gang were already showing. Hosea was tired, Arthur was questioning things, and people were dying left and right, disappearing and splitting off. If it hadn't been Micah, it would have been someone else. You think the gang would have lasted forever without him? I don't think there's any chance. The outlaw lifestyle was dying, civilization was closing in, the Pinkertons were getting closer day by day. No amount of money, no amount of loyalty was going to change that. Micah didn't break the gang, the world did. Micah just saw the writing on the wall and chose survival over sentiment. Micah is also a very selfish person. He only cares about himself, and if he benefits from it, that kind of what makes him like a bad character, like a bad person. But in the outlaw life, it's kind of just you, or it's honestly kill or be killed, honestly. No matter even if you're in a gang or whatever you're doing. And back in that time, it was basically just kill or be killed. So let's talk about loyalty. Micah's loyalty gets questioned a lot, but who was really loyal in the end? Arthur and John, I wouldn't really say they turned on Dutch. It was more of like they knew like it was over because what Dutch was doing and Micah to the gang. I wouldn't really say Arthur and John and them turned on Dutch. They kind of just realized everything was going down the way it was going down. But yeah, John escapes to live with Abigail, start his family with Jack. Charles and Sadie took off after the collapse, and some of the other gang members left during Chapter 6. They just took off randomly, and Arthur helped some of them leave. Micah, though, he stayed loyal to Dutch until the very end, even when it got him killed. He didn't betray Dutch, he betrayed the others, the ones who were trying to pull Dutch back down to earth. Micah's loyalty wasn't to the gang or to a cause, it was to Dutch's power. Is that selfish? It's very much selfish, but it's no more selfish than anyone else trying to grab their slice of freedom. Arthur wanted redemption, John wanted a family, Sadie wanted revenge, Micah just wanted to win. He wanted power, and he never pretended otherwise. Here's the biggest point of it all. Micah isn't evil, he's just a reflection of the same world that made Arthur, Dutch, and the rest of them. He's cold because the world is cold. He's violent because the world rewards violence. He's selfish because selflessness gets you killed. Micah didn't write the rules, he just played the game harder than anyone else, in my opinion. And in a brutal, unforgiving world like Red Dead, maybe he wasn't the villain. Maybe he was just honest about what it takes to survive. Look, none of this is to say that you have to like Micah Bell. I still think he's a scumbag. He's aggressive, loud, and yeah, he's pretty much... he probably stinks, to be honest, but calling him the villain of Red Dead Redemption 2 is, I think, too easy and too simple. I think the real villain is the collapse, the death of a way of life. The outlaw dream fading away and the violence we all got used to. Micah didn't cause that. He just rode the wave all the way to the end. And in that sense, maybe he was the realest of them all, but that might be a crazy take. So, what do you guys think? Is Micah just misunderstood, or was he always rotten to the core? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and like the video if you actually like the video, because that means I'm doing something right, and you learned something, or you just like listening to it. So yeah, thank you so much if you made it this far, and have a good night, or a good day, or good morning, or you know what I mean. Alright, peace.